Wake up, it's the Tim Stevenson Show. Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome to another edition of the Tim Stevenson Show podcast. My guest today is a model. She's an actress. She's a singer. She's also a producer, and she's also doing music video editing and all kinds of crazy things. We're going to have a great conversation with the lovely and beautiful Miss Stephanie Murone.
Yeah,
Have you had a celebrity encounter that was like a wow moment? Like if you ever walked into a room or walked into an audition and it was like, oh, that's so-and-so. Have you had a moment like that?
Beyonce.
Really?
She's my ultimate. She was someone I always wanted to meet, and I was at this event, and she walked in with Jay-Z, and you know me, I'm shy, and I really don't approach anyone, but I was starstruck, and I think I had a few drinks that night too, so I was a little more happy, and I just went up to her, and I was like,
Queen Bee, right?
I was like,
that's funny.
I just have to tell you, you are so beautiful and talented. And she was so nice back. She was like, thank you so much. And then Jay-Z kind of grabs her and pulls her away. But she was
like, you ain't working right now. Yeah.
That's all I needed. It was like, out of everyone I've met, that was my number one favorite celebrity encounter.
Now tell us about, don't name a name, an encounter that you did not like. You could tell the story without naming the person.
Had a few.
I think I know a couple, but
yeah, I think you know.
We're gonna hear your version. Yeah.
I was in the
studio. Right.
Yeah, I was in the studio. I'm trying to think if that wasn't the
private party at what's that place called? What's that celebrity bar that everyone used to go to? I forget what it was called. I think you told me a story about somebody. Yeah, I think you told me a story about a celebrity that was very handsy that day at an event you were at, but you were maybe working, like VIP room tables, that kind of thing. Oh, thinking the mind is twirling. It's twirling. You don't have to do that one. I'm just bringing one up.
Yeah. There was one definitely where I find that the entourages of the celebrity are worse than the actual celebrity.
I agree. Yeah.
So I was in the studio with this particular celebrity. He's really big, and I was really excited to be in the studio. And I was also friends with his producer at the time, and I was sitting in the studio while the celebrity was recording. I'm just sitting there and thinking, oh my God, like I'm gonna get to record music with this person, and you know, and my first year out here too. And then all of a sudden, the producer friend of mine sends me a message, and he's like, "You need to leave now." And I was like, "What?" He's like, "You're just gonna let them talk shit on you like that?" And I said, I can't even hear what they're saying to me. He goes, "You just gotta leave before I get in a fight." So I just randomly just stand up. I'm like, bye. And I just leave. And I was like, I felt horrible because I'm like, what was said about me? And then I guess because I had met this celebrity and his entourage before, and I actually become friends with this celebrity. And he messaged me after, and he was just like, I want to give you all props. He goes, they were talking shit on you because you didn't sleep with any of them. And so therefore, because you didn't sleep with them, they kicked you out of the studio. I was like, you know what? I'm like, I would rather be kicked out of a studio for that than being known as the opposite, you know?
That's
and it was his entourage. I don't even know if he knew what was going on, but his
probably didn't.
Yeah, and it was really an uncomfortable moment for me. That was one. I know I've had so many, but I just, you know, when you put on the spot, you can't think. But that was definitely one that really stuck out to me because I felt horrible after, but then I kind of felt, okay, well, I'm fine.
Well, it just kind of, and it taints your idea of what Hollywood is, right? It's, you know, there's a lot of Weinstein types in that pool of entertainment. If not, or worse, sometimes, like you said, the entourage is usually worse.
I had an acting coach try to come on to me once. That was one of the most uncomfortable moments of my life. I didn't like that at all. It was, and it was someone I trusted too that I'd been, seeing for over a year, and never ever spoke to him again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's typical like the movie Honey, you know, all of a sudden the manager who's been doing so much for you all of a sudden is trying to cash in like for doing that for you, even though it helped himself in the process. You're like, what? Like where'd that come from? You know what I mean? Out of left field, you're like, damn.
Yeah, and it was just good that I was a little more mature and had experienced a lot by that point. But I can imagine like so many younger girls in that situation freeze up and just let it happen because they're afraid, and then never tell anyone because I believe it's kind of their fault. But no, these
i.e. Weinstein. I mean, there was a lot in that camp did the same exact thing. Like, I'm worried because that person can also kill your career, but they're all getting outed, and they've been getting outed in the last 5 years. For all that crap, because people got to be like, whoa, I can't, especially in a climate where everybody's so sensitive about stuff like that in general, that just the accusation alone is like a killer, because even if it's not true, people are going to assume it is because people are getting outed so much. You know what I mean? And it happens all the time. And there's multiple people, celebrities included, that are shaking in their boots because they're wondering who's going to come out of the woodwork and go, you remember in 2002 when you attacked me on the tour bus? We're going to talk about that now. You know what I mean? Yeah. And you're like, damn, that past is coming back to haunt you. You're like, even if sometimes it's not even predatorial, some people are just playing the cat and mouse game. And then somebody wants to cash in on the cat and mouse game now because you can. Even though back then the cat and mouse game was part of the courtship. It was like, hey, I'm going to say no, but it's the way you say it and whatever. Right. And then now all of a sudden, like, oh, you're a predator. You're like, hey, easy. Like, how do you know this girl wasn't just whoring her way around the Los Angeles? There's a lot of those too. So you got to remember the two sides.
100%.
You know what I mean? And it's hard because it sounds insensitive when you flip it, but you're like, but
no, there's definitely
like that.
Out there
I knew
like
girls
that.
you say, I'm only going to marry Jewish, Scientologist, or whatever because it'll help my acting career. Mm-hmm. Right? You're like,
rich that can support my career. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It happens all the time. What was I going to say? So do you think, because when you first got to America and California, like being an Australian girl model in the States, do you feel like it's still as powerful as it was then? Because I knew back then that girls who were from Australia or certain other countries like really were looked after because it was like a sexy thing to have. Like, oh, it's an Australian girl, she got an accent and this, that, and the other. Does that still play? Because, for instance, a mutual friend of ours, Harvey, right? His accent still works in his business because when he's on the phone, he can almost say stuff that I couldn't say and get away with it because of his accent.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Definitely when I first moved here.
Yeah.
I also feel like there wasn't as many Australians when I first moved here. Like,
probably true.
I feel like we're everywhere, so it's not as wow, you're Australian, because I feel like every second person someone meets is Australian, but they still do love the accent. Still, I think the minute someone finds out I'm Australian and not American, they look at me differently straight away.
Right.
Because Australians do have a good reputation. We're generally nice people, down to earth. We're not fake, so you see people's eyes light up like, oh, you're from Australia. And then they know then they can talk to me or whatever. I'm more chill where, American girls, I love American girls, but they seem to have a different reputation. Not all of them, but especially LA, from LA.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
So I was in Sydney 2 summers ago, right? 2 summers ago now. So it was 2018. And for like the first day, all the kids at the Performing Arts Center were like, oh my God, we love your American accent. I was like, wait, I have an accent? Right? But in Australia, I'm the one with the accent, right? And I knew that from being in Melbourne, but like still I was like, oh, wait, I have an accent? Oh, that's right.
Yeah, Americans think that they don't have an accent.
I know, isn't that weird? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, of course you have an accent. I mean, you don't think you do because you live here and everyone sounds like you, but to us, you have an accent. To Europeans, you have an accent. Asians, you have an accent.
Right. Sydney was fun though. I had never been to Sydney. I'd only
Gotta
been.
be treated like a king.
Huh?
I mean, Australians love Americans. You
Yeah.
would have been treated like royalty. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, everybody was super nice. It was crazy. Like, you just go into the store, you know, and be like, oh, I want this. And they're like, oh my God.
You would have thought you were a celebrity. What
Yeah,
are you
it's
doing
like,
in
oh, so
America?
they're like looking and they're like, he's from America. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, because when a celebrity comes to Australia, or when I was living there, you know, say like a Chris Brown was coming to perform or was coming to host a nightclub,
Mhm.
you knew about it for like 2 months prior, and everyone was excited. That was like the biggest thing that was going to happen.
Right.
And then I moved here, and I would just go out, and he would be there, or other celebrities would be there, and I'm like, wow, like this. I was very starstruck my first year, because I'm like, I'm just leaving my house, and I'm going around the corner, and he's there, and other people are there, and it becomes just the normal.
It's normal. And even in the States it's like that, because people who aren't from LA or even like Miami don't get it until they get there. And like, look, just every day I can go up and down Sunset or Doheny or one of these streets and see a celebrity. That's just how we grew up. So for us, it was normal to be like, oh yeah, of course, there's Paris Hilton. Oh, there's Jay Leno. Oh, there's so it's like, again, you know, going up the street again.
I was at Target, and I was in the elevator, and Mark Wahlberg walks in with his 2 kids. I'm just standing in there opposite him. You know, it's still Mark Wahlberg. You're like,
yeah, well, you're like, oh, what's up,
yeah, but
Mark?
it's just
right?
Target down the street. You know, so it's just never know who you're gonna see when. But it doesn't have the same effect on you. You know,
You gotta love the elevator meet though, because now you're in a confined space, and you're like, do I say something? Do I not say something? You're like, Marky Mark. Let me guess.
Yeah,
You do the Funky Bunch, right? You know what I mean? Like,
well, if his kids weren't there, I may have, but his kids were there, so I like respected that.
but the kids is actually better that the kids are there, because then you can say, oh my God, your kids are beautiful, and then all of a sudden you're in a conversation. You know what I mean? As opposed to like, hey, you know what I mean? He knows it's invasive, but if you're complimenting his children, then it's more like, oh, that was nice of you to say, not like. Then you should look at him and go, by the way, who are you? Like, you know, and then make him feel, I don't know, you look familiar, but anyway, your kids are beautiful. Cool. All right. Like, it is what it.
Kind of like silent in the elevator.
Oh, because usually someone who's, you know, got multiple movies that we know, when you first meet them, you're like, oh, but I've had conversations with random people all the time, you know, Michael Douglas, Sinbad, Jamie Foxx, Jennifer Lopez, like, you know, so. But by the time I hit certain celebrities, it was normal, because I'd been on award shows. So I'm like, I'm standing next to Halle Berry, and then I'm standing next to Tony Braxton, and then just it's just like, oh, there's so and so. And then you're more like, are they gonna be bitchy, or are they gonna be cool? Or is their entourage gonna be bitchy, or are they gonna be cool? You know? And then there's some people jockey for watching celebrities jockey for position, like who's the bigger celebrity. That's even funnier to watch. You're like, why do you both care? You're both famous. Right.
But I know I felt like that doing music videos. I never knew how the artist would be, and I would always be so nervous. But every encounter I've had with an artist on a music video, they've all been so nice, like really good. So I've had good experiences with that.
Nice. I was like, okay. Another person that this one we can talk about, right? Okay. So when Trinity was looking for a lead singer, and we were at that apartment place across the Palazzo or whatever it was called, and one of the girls who auditioned in the gym is a dancer girl, but that girl is Danny Lee. Mm-hmm. I was like, crazy, at first I said Danny Lee because one of my students was from here. I got him an agent in LA, and he went on tour. He's like, I'm on tour with Danny. I said, who's Danny Lee? And I'm looking at him like, why does she look familiar? And at first, I was like, I didn't remember her being in the gym. What I remembered was she had 2 other sisters, and they were in a group called Curly Fries.
Her and her older sister were in the Curly Fries group. Curly Fries. So was doing her own CM thing.
Yeah, and then her mom used to tag me on everything they did on Facebook, and then it dawned on me that was the same girl that was coming in to audition.
Yeah, I still have little videos we did of us singing together, because she ended up staying. We were seeing her every day at one point, because she was pretty much going to be a part of the group, and so we was doing a lot of rehearsals and singing training, and it was, you know, unfortunately we went back to Australia and the group broke up, so, you know, but yeah, she was the one that we wanted for the group. But honestly, if anyone deserved, it's her. She was one of the most hardworking.
She was a workaholic.
Workaholic.
It was funny is that she's actually a good dancer now, but back then I was like, like
she's definitely developed. Yeah,
definitely her game is up. Huh?
She wasn't a singer, like she could sing, but she even, told us herself, like she was at the beginning stages, so she had a lot of work to do on her voice. She had the full tone and everything, but she wasn't an experienced singer. So when we were working with, remember Angie and what's Angie's sister's name? Well, the two of them were giving us all the vocal lessons.
Oh, right.
So yeah, but I always knew that she would blow up for how hard she works, and their mom.
Oh yeah, she put in the time, big time, and then it paid off.
Yeah, I went to an August Alsina concert a few years ago, and the older sister was his backup dancer, and so I think she's been in the industry too, like backup dancing for a lot of people.
It's such
and funny enough, Halle and Chloe, Beyonce's.
I just saw those two. I saw their albums on iTunes.
They were the other two Harvey contacted and spoke to their manager at that time because we found them online. I think they were 13 at the time.
You know how many near misses we've had? Danny Lee, those Chloe sisters. The other one was
Tinashe. We hit up Tinashe at that point too.
Oh, I didn't know that. See, so Tinashe.
Harvey spoke to Tinashe's manager, and his manager said that they won't be signing anything under a $2 million deal or something. And she got it.
I know who the other one was. It was Jessica Sanchez, and then she took second on American Idol.
American Idol.
Right.
It was like everyone we contacted.
Right. Actually, it was like, bye, and it was like, you're like,
it's not talent, I want to know what happened to the Shelly girl.
Was that the one? Was that the voodoo one? I want to call it the creepy. Yeah, it's a little.
When all the creepy stuff happened to Hannah
and I remember that.
I think what made Hannah just not want to do this anymore. It really spooked her out.
Yeah.
But that was definitely one of the scariest encounters I've ever had.
That was crazy. I mean, I just remember you calling me, and then I remember the next day.
You messaged us at 3 a.m. in the morning, randomly the night that all the crazy stuff was happening.
That's right. Yeah.
Hannah was calling out for you. Hannah, for some reason, through that time, was like, I need Moat. I need Moat here. And you just messaged us. And it was 3 a.m. in the morning.
That's crazy.
I still get chills when I think of that story because it doesn't even sound believable. Only Hannah and I experienced that, so her and I know what we saw and what we felt, but telling it to people, it kind of seems like, whatever.
Not these days. It's not these.
Wake up, it's the Tim Stevenson Show.